Welcome to Into the Studio, a podcast where two people who don't make music try to figure out what exactly goes on in the studio.
Everybody needs someone to love. It's more to love. Love. It's more to love.
I bet you're wondering what has happened between the last episode and this one. Well, hi, I'm Matt. I'm the new person here.
I'm Nylon. I'm not new. I'm just now on camera.
And, the short answer is things change. Nylon invited me on, and I am now here as a co-host on this beautiful podcast.
Now we work together. Sweet. Today we actually have an interview, but that's coming after we talk about the artist. We're gonna gossip about him a little bit first. We actually have Ryan Cassata on later. That's who it was. We're gonna give him a little bit of introduction before we just jump straight into gossiping about him. Ryan is an award-winning singer-songwriter, actor, performer. He does a lot of stuff. He's over 600 performances internationally, nationwide. He's the first openly trans performer at Vans Warped Tour.
Yeah.
Wow. His track record precedes him. Yes. His most recent song was Mattress for Magical Miracle Mile. That's been doing good. That came out. Magical Miracle Mile. The Mattress came out not too long ago in September, late September.
Wasn't his most recent song Hometown Hero?
Hometown Hero. Yeah, because it came out right after.
So, his most recent song out as of the moment is Hometown Hero, which we were actually in the music video for, and that was really fun to film. About a little bit about the song is that Hometown Hero is about like basically unaccepting family and unaccepting friends while being transgender or queer, and then having that chosen family uplift you and really just supporting you and loving you for who you are. And we got to play the chosen family in the music video, which was fantastic. Everything was colorful and rainbowy and fantastic.
That one was released on September 24th, right?
Yes.
Yes, so just released.
Yeah.
As of recording, at least. So, I'll walk you through the video a little bit. So, the video opens up, he's talking on his phone, something about visiting his family, and there's a transphobic uncle. We've all been there. That's what we've all been there.
Yeah.
And he comes to the barbecue, or not the family barbecue, family dinner, family lunch, whatever it was. I think the funniest part about that at that moment, right? And it's all grayed out, so it's supposed to be dramatic. He places his CD right down on top of their food, and I'm like, I would be mad too. But something an explosion happens from Ryan's uncle, and he's like, I'm tired of this. I can't do this anymore. And obviously we don't hear the argument because he has the time he starts singing over it. And the second part of the video kind of portrays that barbecue, the actual picnic barbecue thing that me and Matt were in. And that's where it's an actual party kind of aesthetic. Ryan's got his dog out.
I think the great thing about the music video is that it really has a sharp contrast between the transphobic family, which is all dark colors, gloomy, very just dark aesthetic, versus the bright rainbow happiness of the chosen family.
Yeah.
And having that distinction go back and forth, it's really it sends the positive message that chosen family is clearly better if you don't have that accepting family at home.
Yeah, and I do know, I know personally that song when, because we were backstage, we heard it first. Special VIPs, we heard it first. I relate a lot to that. I am out in California living my best life with my friend Matt now.
Yes.
We're doing really good out here, and that song, hearing it for the first time backstage, listening to the lyrics, listening to them, and processing right then and there was pretty influential. It really put me in a different mindset for a moment. It was just I am right where I'm supposed to be right now. So that was a moment for me.
I relate to that in a sense that I relate to the lyrics in the sense of I could be a hometown hero, I could be your hometown hero. because there are a lot of people back home. I'm from New York City, who did not give me the time of day, were transphobic to me, were just disgusting to me. And now that there's two ways that this goes. Now that I'm either out here in LA, like living my best life, doing like my film and TV acting, they're either like, oh my god, Matt, I love you, like you, I'm so proud of you, I'm so proud of all your achievements. And I'm like, you literally bullied me in middle school, okay?
Goodbye, middle school bully. Get out
Or
of my
they'll
way.
be the exact opposite of that and be like, why couldn't you just do things that are like not attention seeking or all? And I'm just like, I can't win. So I'm here with my chosen family. I'm just vibing. So
All right, and we're gonna go into the lyrics a little bit because we'll explain
Yes.
why I had my moment backstage on set. Because Ryan does music. He's a musician, right? Obviously. There's a lyric here. It's like, every time I go back, though, I never see you at the home show. It might still be a phase, though. It won't change my name in your cell phone. And it's one of those things where if you're not trans, you may not grasp it right away. But every time Ryan goes back to perform at home, like he did with Catcher in the Rye, stuff like that, he never sees his family or the people he's specifically talking about, I guess, the people who left him behind. He never sees them at the show when he's at home, so they're not supporting him. So that can be kind of hard to like process. And we'll get into it in a second with Catcher in the Rye. Even if it is still a phase, though, it won't change my name in your cell phone. Where I don't know how to describe it. Even if it is a phase for someone to be trans, like you still haven't accepted that phase as part of their life, and you're still going to treat them as you like, which is not good.
Love your kids unconditionally. There's a lot that just delves in Hometown Hero, specifically like about just acceptance and love. And like Nylon was saying, if you're trans, like there's issues with like getting family members to call you by your chosen name and pronouns and all the things that are affirming to you as a person. And those lyrics really stuck with me because there were a lot of times where people were like, oh, I'm just gonna refuse to call you by your chosen name. And I'm just like, cool,
Not nice, not
amazing.
good. Not at all. And when you come to that, a lot of people's parents lie to themselves about it, and lie to the other people about it, right? And there is a line in the, of course, this is what Ryan does. He's an absolute wonderful songwriter. She's just a little bit different, in quotes. And then it responds with him going, I'm just a little bit different. That's what you tell them in church, no? I'm assuming his family was pretty religious, and I think Ryan's still religious, right? And a lot of the religious play that comes into being like trans, a lot of people are cast out from their families because of that, right? But then you'll catch families lying and being like, oh, where's your little, like, where's your daughter? It's like, oh, she's just a little bit different, she's not here right now. When their daughter's transitioned and they don't want to address it with family or friends because they're afraid of like the social outcast of having a trans family member. And I'm like, why'd you have kids?
There is a friend that I have whose family thinks that, like, extended family outside of the country thinks that they're dead because their family
Dead?
does not want to disclose that they are trans to the extended parts of their family.
That's wild.
And unfortunately, that is the reality of a lot of trans people, especially like trans people of color, I find, where you'll have transphobic family and they'll just either think you died off or you'll just be outcast from the entire family. And it's gross. Like I said before, love your kids unconditionally.
That's gonna suck. This is not to deter anyone from coming out. Like,
Oh,
you do
absolutely
you. Absolutely.
Like, if you have to live authentically and live your best life, and you have to do you, even if that does mean cutting off toxic family.
And Ryan does talk about that. There are, in his song Gender Binary, right? It's all about, I'm going to grow my hair real long. I know that angers you. Maybe it's just because I'm a hippie. You all look the same. It makes me yawn. Sorry to complain, but I just want to wear what fits me. It's very true to be your authentic self, even if it's going to make people mad, even if it's going to, people are going to look at you weird, right? This is the song Gender Binary, right? It's part of the Rebels and Ghosts album he had from 2020. So the entire video, which is absolutely like a godsend, is filled with like trans and like gender non-conforming and like non-binary people just like living it up. And I'm like so happy to see that on the video.
Yes. I love videos that just show trans joy or just gender non-conforming people like just being themselves, because we spend so much time just being pushed into all these little boxes by society, and now like more and more people are starting to be like, yeah, no, I want to just do me, like that's all you really need.
Yeah. What was it? He also, Ryan's not on testosterone, right? So he is a part of this video. His voice, he's worried about his singing voice going away because going on testosterone, right? And both me and you are on testosterone, so our voices have obviously like lowered. And as someone who used to sing as a kid, I've had a really hard time getting back into singing. So it's entirely, like, from my standpoint, entirely reasonable for Ryan to be like, I can't go on testosterone. My entire career relies on my voice. And he gets a lot of flack for that because he's a trans man, right? He's supposed to be a man. He's supposed to get top surgery, go on hormones, get all the surgery, stuff like that. And he's like, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to keep making music, which is so good to see. I'm so happy that he's gaining more followers and more people to look at him, because it's breaking those gender stereotypes when you expect of trans people, what you expect them to bring to the table.
Yeah, I think Ryan is a staple of showing that there's no wrong way to transition, because like from like, again, like you were saying, Ryan gets so much hate on the internet for not being on T, but as he's reiterated time and time again, like he just doesn't want to. It's not a part of his transition goal. Like he likes how he is. He likes his voice how it is. And like there are definitely a lot of successful trans musicians who go on T, and like their voice drop, 'cause it's just going through male puberty. Like you strain your voice, but like this is Ryan's personal journey, and people just need to respect that. And people on the internet sometimes do not, because they want to put him in this box that they think that he should be. Yeah, every trans person journey is different.
I think that also comes towards chosen family. Like, you have to have that good support system, because like if he was anyone who, I don't want to say like people who are forced to go on testosterone, or like coerced and be like, it's what you expected, because a lot of people go on testosterone because it's what's expected of them, right? I'm really glad that Ryan had the support system where he could fight back against that mentality and kind of actually live authentically, right?
Yeah, definitely. I am glad that Ryan has found support not only through like chosen family, but his fan base, because his fan base is like one of the most respectful fan bases that I have ever encountered. And like they're very accepting and open arms and being like all the like the good side of the trans community, basically, because they can get toxic sometimes.
Like every community can. We're not pointing fingers. I think something, because Ryan's had a hard time. He's had a hard time getting his footing, right? He started out, not just in general, like a traumatic, like transphobic family. He also struggled quite a bit with addiction, didn't he, right?
Yeah, he wrote quite a few songs about that, actually,
Yeah.
about getting sober and his struggle with addiction. And also just the fact that he came out publicly on live TV at such a young age, during a time that trans people weren't ever talked about. Like, I didn't hear about trans people until I saw Ryan Cassata on the Tyra Banks show. And this was at a time where I was also questioning my gender. So I was kind of like trying to figure out like, oh, what's going on? And then I see Ryan on the Tyra Banks show and everyone being like, trans people, what is that? And it was a time back then.
Absolute icon of a man. He's probably a lot of people's like trans awakening, like, oh my god, I'm trans. And I'm just
Probably,
like,
yeah.
I didn't have that. I didn't have that.
I didn't have that.
Ryan's not my trans awakening, unfortunately. But I'm gonna talk about one of the songs. He has a song "Sober." We're not gonna talk about that one because that one's pretty self-explanatory. But there is a sort of metaphor in "The Witches Made Me Do It." That one came out 2020 in an album with the same name, right? It's like the witches made me do it. Like the witches made him do it. Not that like anyone was forcing him to drugs. I don't know his personal story with that, but the line I was looking at earlier was, "This ain't just old thinking. I swear to God, I'm not drinking. Won't deny that I'm addicted. No." And my kind of interpretation of that was like getting high over and over again, right? It's giving him that sort of it's putting him up where all of his dreams are going to get fulfilled. And like the same line just afterwards is, we've been hanging with some witches. We've got broken bones and stitches. We've been hanging with some witches, and they've been granting all of our wishes. So it's the give and take of having an addiction where you can't stop, but and it's hurting you because you can't stop, but it's giving you everything you would have wanted, and you keep chasing that high, and it's really hard to break out of that. And Ryan has been 7 years sober.
I think. I don't know the exact year count.
I think it's his most recent, just like he just recently went 7 years sober. So like, congratulations, Ryan, right?
Yeah. Addiction is very hard to battle.
Mm-hmm. And that in conjunction with, because this is when he was like going through all that and coming out and going through losing your family and like all that stuff. That's a lot to go through, right? I know personally my addiction is in my family, so it was very well I could have gone on the same path as Ryan did. I'm thankful that I haven't. I'm thankful that I've brought out of it and I've broken that generational like trauma, but it's hard to get out of it once you're in it. And I'm really happy to see that Ryan has made that point in his music, that you can get over it. Something you're born into or something you've been created into is not the end goal. You are able to escape and make yourself again from that. And to see him do that publicly almost, it's wonderful. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah. I feel like it's a double-edged sword because, like, on one hand, you're showing this all publicly, but on the other hand, you're showing this all publicly, which means you're going to be in the public eye being scrutinized for everything that's going on, which probably doesn't make addiction any less hard.
Back to Catcher in the Rye. This is specifically where he goes back to his hometown to film this video.
Yes.
He's in his hometown where he went through all this, like, abuse, right? And, like, this trauma, this transphobia. It's a conservative town. He was born in New York, wasn't he?
He was born on Long Island, yeah. I don't remember the exact town, but Long Island is not known for being the most accepting place, queer-wise.
Yeah, specifically very conservative, what he had said somewhere else, right? He writes it, the Catcher in the Rye, after the book, right? After the book, because it was something he read in, like, middle school. Let me find the lyric. We can sit on my old front lawn. There's a swing on the side. You can read New York Times, and I'm holding on to Catcher in the Rye. That specifically was in reference to, I think, his partner at the time, or I don't want to assume it's his partner, but whoever he was with at the time was reading onto news and current stuff and being in the present and living life then. But Ryan was holding on to the Catcher in the Rye, which is the book he had really fixated on this book in high school when he had to read it for class or something, right?
I believe so.
And he was holding on to it. And I made the point to like mention he's not even reading it. He's just holding on to it. So he's not even doing anything. So like it was the metaphor for the past where he was just holding on to it. He wasn't addressing it. He wasn't reading through it. He wasn't working through it. He was just holding on to it like baggage. I again have to like, what's the word? Recommend you guys to like listen to his songs and like watch the videos, because like his songwriting is chef's kiss.
The music video for Catcher in the Rye, I believe, won an award for best LGBTQ short film or something at a film festival. I don't remember the name of the award, but I know that it did win an award, which says a lot about how much energy he poured into for filming this video that's obviously very close to his heart because of the song lyrics and the location and everything going on. In general, I mean, like, Ryan pours his soul into his music anyway, and you can really feel that with his lyrics. But with Catcher in the Rye specifically, it's such a cinematic, like, masterpiece.
Absolutely.
Especially because it, at least to me, perfectly portrays, like, the emotion that he's trying to convey through his lyrics.
Yeah, because I think the lyric you're probably specifically thinking about was, can you see why I escaped, why I ran away? I can't deal with this pain and I can't deal with this place. Which, again, like, he had to leave. He needed to leave. It was a conservative area. He wasn't safe, right? And it, like, just really, he puts into words and into a vision what a lot of people are going through, like, outside of this. This is not just a Ryan specific story. Ryan Cassata is not the only trans person to ever exist. But he's really influential one. He has a gift with the way he's able to portray what he's feeling, which luckily for a lot of people is the same feeling, and they're able to find be able to be consoled by Ryan's music, because it's like, I'm not alone, right?
Aside from Ryan, being a singer-songwriter, he's also an actor and starred as a lead in the film Two Eyes, which had aired at Outfest. Was it last year? Or this year?
2020.
Yes, so
Yeah.
last year. I barely know what year it is.
We're almost 2022.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Put their party hats on.
But Two Eyes, Ryan had played the character Jalen, and it was a wonderfully diverse cast. I had the privilege of being a part of this movie as a little background character in
I didn't know that.
Surprise.
Surprise.
I was in that film shortly. You can check it out somehow if you can.
I don't think you can. I think it was only premiered at Outfest in 2020. There's like trailers available on YouTube, on their like official YouTube.
Well, take my word for it.
I'm sure you were wonderful.
There was a scene with a support group that Jalen goes to, a trans support group, and that is where I'm in, along with a couple of my other friends. And who else Ryan reached out to and being like, hey, we need people, me in it. And the director, the camera person, like it was all like beautifully done, beautifully diverse. And yeah, so Two Eyes as a whole, it follows three main characters, right? And in different time periods who don't really seem to be connected in any way. And it just follows their storylines. And it's basically just a set of like three associated artistic, literary, and musical works that are all intended to be like appreciated all together.
What's it called? It's a triptych.
Yes.
Triptych. It's like a collection of like literally just three seemingly unrelated, but like they follow that theme. I didn't know this existed.
I didn't know that there
called.
was a term for it until right this second.
Yeah, you didn't?
No,
Okay,
I
so
didn't.
me being a little literary nerd, it's called a triptych. It's a triptych. I don't think I'm saying it right. It's Triptych. You can Google it. But it's literally where they're just three different things that are intended to be appreciated together. So like if you see like three separate canvases of art that are made as part of like a collection, that's kind of what it is, right?
I think the really great thing about this movie in particular is because like it is set in different time periods, and it really portrays like how those time periods affect like what the character is going through at the time. So they're all the characters are going through like some sort of like life-changing event that they're just going through it. And they're having like both ideas about themselves and the world just being challenged. And that's really like, if you're following each of the characters' stories, it's really apparent like how their external environment is really impacting the character based on where and when it's taking place.
We can all have a moment of silence for none of us being able to watch it, unless you saw it. You were out at Fest, you saw the premiere, you saw win the award.
Hopefully it'll be released somewhere, because I feel like more people need to watch it.
Yes, I need to watch it. Oh God, what was it? In like conjunction with that, right? Challenging that stuff around you, the way the world's working. Ryan's new song, Mattress. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I'm actually talking about it now. With lockdown kind of changing the way life is lived. This song's not about lockdown, but it's about getting back into the dating scene after a breakup, I'm assuming like a not a good breakup, right?
Right.
And with a lot of people in lockdown, a lot of relationships ended. A lot of relationships were put to the test because of quarantine, and they failed. So
Yeah.
especially with things opening back up again, having to get back into the dating world, that's pretty intimidating for a lot of people.
Especially a trans person.
Yeah, especially a trans person, right? And like, I guess Ryan has a bit of privilege in that way because he's a well-known trans person. But again, that comes with like pros and cons.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say like there's a lot of people who think that he's catfishing himself, which I find a lot of like my more like famous friends is that like either the actual app will be like, you're not real, or people will be like, you're catfishing.
And then they give you like a verified check mark after they verify that you are this indeed the celebrity.
And they still think that they're catfishing. Oh my god.
That.
But yeah, I hear this a lot from like all of my friends. So like Ryan specifically, he has stated this on his Twitter, I believe.
Okay, so the way that it's put together to be getting back into the dating world, it's like a back and forth between Ryan and himself about wanting to find himself in a relationship again and then actively fighting against it. Something about, because he has a song called Loner Boy. You guys can assume what that's about. The song's called Loner Boy. And he brings that lyric in, right, from that song, or the title from it. It's the back and forth between being okay with being hurt because it would make it easier to justify separating yourself from that person and justify being alone, and then missing the person you were separated from, and that's not your ex, right? You're missing them. Yeah. You're missing them and you want them back, but they hurt you, so you don't want them back, but you want to bring someone new in because of that. And like,
basically just the tug of war of love. especially in like monogamous relationships. There's a lot of things that I find that are just, oh well, I miss my ex, but then like you only idolize like the good parts, forgetting the bad parts, then you're like, wait, there's a reason we broke up. Oh my god.
I kind of get the especially from like specifically from, I'll read the lyric in a second, but it's like the, yeah, sure, I'm unbothered or whatever, cool guy attitude. I don't know what the word is for it.
I can't think of the word that I'm thinking of.
Neither can I.
I just have an image in my mind of like a dude in a leather jacket. Like,
he's like, yeah, cool, whatever. I don't care about women. I don't need a girlfriend. But he's like, please date me.
What?
I gave him like the maniacal like scheming hands. Okay, the lyric is, we can F around for a day too, and I promise that you won't be my breakthrough. I'm at full disclosure, I ain't got no closure. Only want you closer. Baby, I'm a loner boy. You can give me everything, I'ma still cut the string. What do I even say about that? It's right there.
It speaks for itself. Like, it really genuinely does. And like we were saying, like it still holds that like cool, like, cool I don't care attitude. Yeah. The just kind of like, you know what, like, I'ma do me. I'm not gonna let anyone just ruin my vibe. There's a lot of relationships that ended because of quarantine, because they were forced to spend a lot of time with each other instead of the busy world of capitalism.
And then everything's closed down, apartments aren't selling, you don't have a job, and then they're stuck together. Getting over a hard breakup, right? And then relearning how to be with somebody else, you make a lot of mistakes getting back into that, right? A lot. Yes. And the paraphrase the lyric, again, you can give me everything, I'm still cut the string. I ain't got no anchor in. I'm sorry for angering you. It turns into the song. It turns into, yeah, I'm gonna be this cool, nonchalant, like, guy, and like lead you on or like hurt you in what my actions, and then I realize what I've done. I'm so sorry for angering you. I'm sorry I put you through that. Like, Brian, why? What's going on? Are you okay?
He's going through it.
Yeah. And this one came out before, what was it? This is the one before Hometown Hero, right? This is the fourth single of Magic Miracle Mile. That one, Magic Miracle Mile, which is the full EP, I think, the full album, it comes out the 22nd of this year. So 5 days from when this episode's released. You can find that out, the information for that on his website. That is just like literally just ryancassata.com. So Ryan Cassata, CASSATA.com. So
yes, I believe he's on all music streaming platforms as well.
So. You can find like the music videos and stuff like that, like on YouTube, and like they're so pretty and cinematic. I really suggest you do it. Like, I know we didn't mention it earlier, but in Catcher on the Rye, that full cinematic like piece he put together, that entire cast, not one, was all trans and gender non-conforming people, like entirely. And I remember him saying something about how they all stood out. like you are in a conservative town in New York, right? Conservative city, conservative area, and you have a bunch of queer people standing there with like film cameras and like doing stuff. I'm like,
Right.
right? And there was a moment where he, at the very end of the video, I don't want to spoil it, but at the very end of the video, he has like the little trans flag, like on like a little stick. He sticks it into the wooden post, and you can see him walking away from it, right? And they almost didn't do that. But the symbolism, right? It's throughout every single one of his works.
Yes.
You can pick up any song, any section from it, and you get the backstory to that, and you're like, oh my god. So
Absolutely. A popular song that we haven't mentioned before is Daughter, which is what Ryan, I think, at this point is known for, because it has, I think, over 1 million views on YouTube or something like that. It has a very large amount of views. And that entire music video is fantastic because it shows what a trans person has to go through with like coming out with parents, and then like the parents thinking that like, oh, this person's gonna change. And the entire music video is just basically, I will always be your child no matter like what, like it's still me no matter what transition and all that, and which a lot of trans people resonate with, because like especially in like a transitioning, if you're AFAB, a lot of parents who are not really quite on board with the trans everything going on tend to use the line like, I feel like my daughter is leaving me.
like, we didn't die, guys. We're right here. And Ryan
Yeah.
has the line where it's like, I'm still your little girl, or I'm still your daughter. People are mad about that, but like, it's so symbolic to the fact that like, you're not a different person.
Yeah.
You're not a different person at all. Like, you are still the person that was your daughter, but now you're just like, in Ryan's case, the son.
Definitely. And which I related heavily to personally, because my mother said the same thing, which was basically, my child is dying, my daughter is dead, and I'm like, I'm standing
so
right
dumb.
here, I'm alive. Hello.
Which is back to like Ryan, not the only trans person in existence, but he mirrors a lot of trans experience in like his music, which is so good to have him in our interview, which actually we should get to.
Yes.
So we're going to switch to the interview we have with Ryan. We're going to talk to him, ask a few questions. If you guys missed it, we were asking for questions on our Instagram, our Twitter, all that stuff. So you'll have to catch us next episode when we ask questions to a different artist. We're going to keep that one private, but we do have musicians coming in, so keep your eye out so you can ask them questions about their work.
Yeah.
But let's get to Ryan's interview.
Hey, we're here with Ryan Cassata, interview time. So yeah, do you want to say anything about yourself? Like,
hi everyone, thanks for having me on. My name's Ryan Cassata. I use he/him pronouns, and we are in Los Angeles right now filming this. So
yeah.
Yes. We are in a change of scenery. We are sitting at Ryan's kitchen table. And you will see Geoffrey pop his head up as we
yeah.
have to move him out of the way.
Yeah.
So like, I know you said on Twitter and like everything, or in like actual real life conversations, that you don't really like have a choice when songs come to you. Like, it just happens, and then you go straight into writing and like creating music or what's that process like? Like, do you just feel things? You have to play it out, or like, what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there's a feeling that washes over me, and that's when I know I'm gonna write a song. Like, it's a very specific feeling. Like, it can't be confused with anything else, and I guess it's like inspiration, and I feel it. I'm like, okay, a song is coming.
Yeah.
And sometimes a song doesn't come, but most times when I feel that feeling, it comes, and it comes quickly. Like, it doesn't take me long to write a song. Like, I was in a hotel room and I had to be on set in like 20 minutes, and I started writing a song, and I was like, I'll be done by then. So
That's amazing.
I just want to comment, if you're putting stuff out like you're like sitting down writing down stuff like in 20 minutes, your stuff is like, we talked about it early in the episode, like, it's, I love your writing so much.
Thank you.
And you're just like cranking it out in 20 minutes.
Automatic
like,
brain, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it like comes to me in a dream and I wake up with the song.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I've heard of that happening.
So what made you pursue singing as well as also acting? Because you're like a triple threat. You do it all: activist, actor, singer.
Yeah, I mean, I really just do what I love, and that's how I've been my whole life. Like, I just do what I love the most. And first it was like singing and writing songs, and I mean, that's still like my number one love always. But like with acting, that kind of like that came second, and it was just like because I don't know, just from like being who I am in the trans community, people were like, hey, can you play this character, blah blah blah. So it sort of just like went like that.
Gotcha.
And I love it too. Like, it's a performance, you know, they're all a performance.
And like I feel like that's definitely translated into like Catcher in the Rye and like your other music videos, especially with like Come Down Hero. It's very cinematic in a way. Like I feel like it carries over pretty well.
Thank
like,
you.
Having that double set of skills.
Yeah.
So you just came back from a tour literally last night.
Yeah.
How was that? Like,
yeah, it
going
was
back
fun.
to New York.
Yeah, I played in my hometown and in Brooklyn, and I also spoke at my high school and did another speech. So yeah, it was really fun, and it was good to just be back. I mean, you know, like, it's been the whole pandemic, and it's like there's barely been any social moments and moments that we get to like play shows, and you know, so it's been really nice to just be like in a crowd of people that are all there for the same reason. You know, I mean, you guys went to one of the
Yeah, we did. We went out to Queer Mom at that one.
yeah.
Right.
And then we do have an upcoming date, the 13th.
It's gonna be the 20th.
The 20th?
Yeah, I changed it.
Okay, the 20th. So everyone watching will still be able to catch that. And where is that one going to be at?
That's gonna be, it's called the Writers Room, and it's like a little open mic type of thing. And then I'm also, there's something happening this Thursday at the Celebration Theater for like a queer night, and I'm doing that one too.
Oh, that's sweet.
Cool. You have shared this before that you're deaf in one ear. Has that affected your music in any way, or do you have trouble hearing your band sometimes, or like what's that process like for you?
Yeah, I went deaf when I was 13 in one ear, and none of the hearing has ever come back. It's completely dead, no hearing, like nothing at all. And it was like really hard to adjust because I was born hearing in both ears. So yeah, like recording is sometimes an issue, and now I'm just like I'm not recording in stereo anymore. Like, I'm recording in mono. Like, I want to be able to hear my music. Like, my early albums, until The Witches Made Me Do It, they're all in stereo, and like I'll never really know what they sound like to other people.
It's wild.
I was
Yeah.
gonna ask about that because you see like the 8D audios on like YouTube where they go around.
Yeah.
You can't ever make those. You can't ever make like stereo where you put people in the same room. It kind of sucks. Would you ever consider getting someone else to mix a song?
Oh yeah,
in stereo?
that's what I've always have done. But then I still am not here. You know, I still don't get to
yeah.
enjoy it. So.
Yeah.
Something I spend so much time and money on. Like, I want to be able to hear my song.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sweet. Also, you have been making music for a while. Yeah. Do you plan on ever stopping doing that? Do you plan on keeping it going until you can't anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd be possible for me to stop, because that, you know, that overwhelming feeling of like, I need to write a song. So I don't think it'll ever happen. So I'm gonna keep doing this till I die.
That's a good plan, yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Geoffrey.
I also do want to ask, I do know, not necessarily like strict religious things come up in your music, but it is like, there are some undertones where it's just religious, and you are going to school to become like an ordained minister.
Yeah.
Right? Has that influenced your music? And
yeah, definitely. So I'm learning theology, and I'm learning social justice, like a lot, and just, you know, there's a lot of things that I need to learn and to be a better activist too for the trans community. So not only does it affect my music, it's making my activism better, it's making my writing better, because I'm reading so much more.
Obviously, yeah.
So my you know, dictionary is expanding.
That's
so
good, yeah. And your music making, I know Geoffrey there is in the album.
yeah, he has a credit on the did you know? He's right there.
I love that.
We'll try to show to the camera. This is the very bottom.
Hopefully that focuses.
Yeah,
But,
hopefully it does. If not, I'll put a photo in. Your cat's not on the album though.
No.
I think he's getting a little jealous.
He's sleeping.
Yeah, he's sleeping.
He's
over
mad right now.
Yeah.
You recently ran for charity in Malibu, right? With a triathlon. So how was that?
It was great. It was to raise money for the Children's Hospital of LA. And it was just great to do something that I've never done before. Like, I haven't been involved in sports since I was in middle school. Since I actually went deaf. So I haven't done anything since then. And it was nice to, like, run again and, like, because running is, like, so good for anxiety. And I have, like, pretty bad anxiety. So that's, like, helped so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just been, like, mentally good for me, too.
That's great.
Do you think you're going to run any more triathlons or marathons in the future?
I want to. I definitely want to.
You got any big dreams for any specific one?
Nothing, like, sticks out completely, but, yeah, I mean, I want to do, like, some cool ones or whatever. I know there's, like, one at Universal.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That'd be fun. We get a whole gang together, get a bunch of people
track.
get into marathoning.
Yeah.
You know, Geoffrey.
Yeah, the album drops October 22nd.
Sweet.
Woo!
And then you have another tour date November 5th. Or did that one get switched around?
Yeah, I'm playing at Red Rocks Music Festival, which
Yes.
is like a queer music festival in Utah. Springdale,
Sweet.
Utah.
Yeah,
So,
hell
yeah.
yeah.
In Utah.
yeah, it's far. It's going to be like a 7-hour drive one
wow.
way. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, thank you, Ryan, for being
Yeah,
on
thank
our podcast.
you. Thank you both.
All right. Well, that was fun. But unfortunately, we do have the end of the episode at some point in the day. I'm going to go ahead and direct you guys to our socials and to Ryan's. You can find us at _the studio on like Instagram. I think the same thing on Twitter, stuff like that. You can find Ryan at his socials. It's literally just at Ryan Cassata. I think on his Twitter as well too. You can also see his store, which is just literally www.ryancassata.com. Like, he's got a brand going. Go ahead and check him out. Check out his stuff. Check out the stuff we're doing on our page, and we will see you next week.
Yeah.
Next 2 weeks. I think the 29th. We'll see you the 29th.
Bye.
Bye.
I could be a hometown. I was just trying to stay living. Treat me just like I've been sinning. She's just a little bit different. I'm just a little bit different.